What's good, everybody? This is your boy, Mr. Pound for Pound himself, and I'm coming back at you with my last minute Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, the rematch prediction. This is last minute, day of. I'm just trying to get it in real quick. I originally was going to do just a post-fight and tell you what my prediction was, for the last fight and for this fight, and just do a post-fight recap of everything. But I just decided, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get it in before the fight and make the prediction a little bit more valid that way. But anyways, yeah, so the first fight, we'll get into it real quick, man. Like I said, I don't have much time. The card's going to start in a couple hours. Let's get right into it. The first fight took place July 6, 2013 at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas. And, we saw what happened. Chris Weidman came, to get the belt, and that's what he did that night. The first round saw some groundwork. It saw Chris Weidman taking Anderson Silva down quite easily, to be honest with you. He took him down. He is the better wrestler. He did deliver a little bit of ground and pound. He went for a leg lock submission. Didn't get it. Anderson is very slick. You know what I mean? He's always been that slick type of fighter to get out of things. So he was able to get back on his feet to his demise, as we saw. The one interesting thing about the fight, probably the most interesting thing about the fight, is the clowning around and toying around that Anderson Silva was doing prior to the knockout, before Chris Weidman knocked him out. Now, I've heard, a couple of my friends say opposite things. I've heard people say Anderson was toying with him because he was too easy. Then I've heard flip side, which was Anderson was toying with him because he knew he was going to lose. So he tried to make it seem like he was just, he wasn't tired or he wasn't afraid when he actually was, and the toying around was a ploy to cover it up. Both points, very good. To me, Anderson Silva's always been a great fighter. Back in the day when he was a Shootbox Academy, Vanderlei Silva, Shogun, all those guys, when they were together, they were just like unbeatable. And even then, he still had his losses. But, as an all-around fighter, Anderson Silva is just solid. So I tend to lean toward the fence of the people that say he was kidding and joking around in the ring because he felt that the fight was a little too easy. Personally, Chris Weidman, I've seen, most of his fights. He's okay. He's pretty good, actually. No, I take that back. He's a really solid fighter, a really, really good wrestler, strong guy. But as far as like the hands and the stand-up go, he's okay in my book. He's good as far as the standards of MMA, but in my book, he's just an okay stand-up guy. Like his stand-up really isn't all that to me. And personally, I thought in the first fight that Anderson Silva was goading him a little bit and playing around a little bit. I think Anderson was just trying to prove and say to people with his hands and the body language in the ring that this is all you guys got. Like, really? Like, you guys are trying to build names for these guys, these nobodies, and I'm Anderson. Like, I've been around forever. Like, the UFC is trying to build these nobodies. And that's kind of like the vibe that I felt. And, unfortunately, you don't show out and show off in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I would have much rather preferred to see Anderson Silva run him over, beat his ass, easy knockout, and then say that later, maybe in the post-fight meeting, if he felt that way, because that's kind of what the body language he showed was, this guy's nothing, he's easy, I don't even know why the UFC put him in front of me. And next thing you knew, Anderson Silva was on the ground and knocked out cold. So you can't play in the ring. You must protect yourself at all times. And that's pretty much what summed up the first fight. Weidman threw a flurry, and at the end of the flurry, he caught Anderson with a good left hook he did not see coming. And honestly, if you look back at the tape, Anderson was dodging punches. He was moving, bobbing, and weaving, but it was that little right backhand that Weidman threw at the very end. It was a right backhanded punch. It wasn't like a real punch. It was kind of like a jab, but it was like a backhanded jab. He was just trying to find him. That punch actually blinded Silva's view, and if you go back and look at the tape, you can see it kind of got in his way. He never saw that left hook coming. So that knockout was valid because Chris Weidman threw it, but, you have to ask yourself what would have happened had Anderson been serious. Had Anderson been serious, I think he would have won the fight by knockout, and I am going with my prediction for the rematch as such. I'm going to go with Anderson Silva for the knockout. This just, I'm going to go based off of how I feel about him as a person and a fighter. I think coming off a loss, I think he's going to be very serious when he comes back. I think he's probably going to try to take Chris Weidman's head off, and I think he will be successful in doing that. We saw what happened when he had a lackluster performance against Chael Sonnen. He came back and proved right away, yo, it was a fluke, it was a mistake, this is what should have happened. Will we see that tonight? No one knows, only God himself knows. But, I'm rooting for Anderson Silva, and I will be in his corner as far as my prediction. Anderson Silva with a TKO KO stoppage over Chris Weidman in the rematch. That's your boy, Mr. Pound for Pound, on this last minute day of prediction. Y'all take care. Don't drink too much. Mr. Pound for Pound, I'm out of here.